I don't know that people know about. So um, this right here, when we share it with you, this is a walkthrough. Um, and this is what Erica Tracy was going to go through if nobody had used it. But since most of us have used it already, if you do want a refresher, that link will bring you back through it. But it sounds like you all have accounts and everything. Was this supposed to be you, Trace, Erica?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. Now you'll still drive. Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. So we're talking about two different examples here. So just to kind of
Oh,
put it in your forefront is this first one is an international Flipgrid. It's an open grid. So this grid is open to the public because we were inviting people from other countries to please respond to our question. And these posted automatically. I didn't have a moderator status on it. Pretty much we were inviting adults and giving their experiences of COVID and where they were living. So I was checking on it frequently. I mean, I knew leaving it open might be a little risky, but I was coming back to it every night when we were posting this link out frequently and just making sure. And also as the owner of the grid, I would get emails anyway when someone would post to it.
yeah.
So when it hit my email and said, "Hey, somebody posted to this grid," I know it's an open grid, so I know to go to it right away and check it. This is probably used the least frequently by us in District 21. We mostly use closed grids because when you use a closed grid, you don't have to worry about student permissions.
Hmm.
The
Do you want
open,
to super quick talk about this here? The
oh, that the
response.
kids can
Yeah.
use responses.
Yeah.
If you put, basically with Flipgrid, all these things you're seeing, you can turn on and off. So I allowed kids to leave either an emoji, they can do likes, and it all just depends on what you're kind of looking for to see what you want to leave. They
Hmm.
can leave responses here. I left that open. So really, I left this one very open because I knew I would be spending the time to moderate it. And I know that's not easy to do for everybody.
And the other thing is, because I did a similar one last year, and it was about celebrations around the world, and they did the commenting, but then when the kids wrote back, they asked more questions. So it actually became a conversation because it was my Spanish class, and we had them asking questions in Spanish, and we had people in Madrid and people in South America, and they would say something about how they celebrated Christmas, let's say, and then our kids would write a question or speak a question back, and then they were able to answer. So it's almost like doing a Skype, but it has the benefit of you don't have to do it at the same time. So that's the thing.
Yeah, that's huge because when you're talking about different time zones, you're not
Hmm.
going to be easily able to talk to somebody in Bhutan. There's a 13 to 14-hour time difference. So, and when we're teaching, that's huge. So that's kind of why I really like the grids because if you do know some people in the international community, you can get responses. And there are some class projects that Jody will touch on later. Jody, what I was trying to remember is for the global read aloud, was that just an open grid?
No, that's where we got into the grid pals type of thing.
Right. Okay.
So you connected with a class, and then you basically put both of the schools' email addresses on there so that anybody from CCSD 21 or anybody from their district was able to answer.
Okay. So then this is more of a typical district example. This is a closed grid. This grid, any student can respond to. It doesn't matter what their permissions are because it's closed. You didn't really see it because Jody's been in it before, but when you click this grid, it automatically prompts you to log in with your Google account. So if you
Mhm.
didn't have a CCSD Google account, you couldn't even get into this grid at all. So this is a grid we use through the LMCs and through the communications classes. These are book reviews and they have different genres. And if you're interested in using this with any class, it's still an active grid. We can add a genre if there's something you feel like we're missing. And so students record just little blurbs about books that they've enjoyed and what they would recommend. And so when kids would come into the LMC and just be like, "There's nothing to read," we would say, "Well, have you checked
Mhm.
the grid?
Mhm.
The book review grid?"
Mhm. And we also at Holmes we had 4 checkout Flipgrid places or for checkout stations, and we turned one of them into a Flipgrid station. So they were looking at them in the library too. The other thing you can do with these is you can turn them into QR codes. So if this whole pandemic thing hadn't happened, my next step was to put for the kids who did have permissions, you can put a QR code, and I was going to bring them to the Indian trails, and then people could scan them. But life didn't work that way this year. So so that's that one. Um, so that's those are. Oh, and then you want to talk about that a little bit more? Or you pretty much covered it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I covered it. Just know that if you are making this public, you have to make sure that the permissions are checked, that the parents have agreed to have their student work online or the images. But
Mhm,
just know that's what's so great about Flipgrid. You can completely use it without the permissions as long as you're keeping the grids private.
mhm. And you can also have everybody do it, and then not approve the ones that are like
Hmm.
those. If you had your whole class do something, you could have them do it, and then just not approve every single one. So that's kind of the basics, and that's most of you. It sounded like that's stuff you already knew. So these are the new things that have been added from the last, I'd say, year or so. um the reason I wrote thanks to her is because most of these links here are what I'm going to show you. She has a screencast of it, or a demonstration of it. So I'm going to click out of here just so I can see both things at once. The first thing is shorts. So if I'm in my administrator login, right here you can see shorts. And what shorts are is you might not have an activity for kids. It might not be a question that they're answering. You might want to just be doing a welcome for the day. You might want to be doing a like a demonstration of something, and you don't want to have to set up your whole wee video or do something really fancy. So these can be up to 10 minutes. This was the one that I made where I was talking about the fact that some of the apps are turning the numbers backwards, but this one doesn't. So it's just a 10-minute thing. And I just showed the kids how to do something. So this was added within the last again year. And then the nice thing is all I have to do to share it with the kids is click right here and copy it, and then I can put it into my assignment, or I can share it right to Classroom. And then you can also see right here they've added closed captions onto it. So if you have ELL kids, it's a nice touch that they can see it. So those are shorts. Another thing that was added is screen recording. So I'm just going to go to one of my grids, and I'm going to just pretend like I'm going to record a response. So there's a couple different types of screen recording you can do. The first one is like a whiteboard. So if I click right here, I have a choice of either a white whiteboard or a black whiteboard. So if I did a white whiteboard, and both our computers and the kids' computers are all touch screen. So I can click on this record button, and just like in a regular screencast or a Flipgrid, I can start explaining whatever I want to do, and I can change my colors. Oops. I can change my colors, and I can put different colors down here, and I can also put emojis or stickers like this. But if I was talking about math, the nice thing is I could be talking about division and put the stickers on here. I can find stickers in here and move. Oh, now he looks like he has a mohawk. So, and then I can press pause, and then if I want to explain something else. And everything else works the same way as Flipgrid does. The going to the next and the taking the screenshot or the selfie and all of that. The other thing you can do is you can do a screencast, but you can, this time I'm gonna make my screen black, and I can upload, oops, not a video, I can upload a picture. So, oops. So if I go to, it's actually a sticker. No, it's a photo sticker. And if I have this picture down here of, I don't know, let's just say Trey, I can take his picture and I can put it on here. And then when I record, I can say, this is Trey Anastasio. This is his guitar. You can see that he has a really nice guitar. I think he's really cute. I like how when he's singing, he smiles. And I also think that it's important that we listen to music. So I can click here, and you're going to get a text back somewhere. Hold on. You should get a text box. You will get a text box. You're going to do a better job at this than me. But you can write your text back. And then if I wanted to put another picture up, I pause it, and I can go and I can bring another picture up. And I can record more. Now, one thing that, and I can take him off and put this one on. One thing that I don't know if you've heard of before, but there's something called a book snap. Have any of you heard of book snap before? So a book snap is
Nope.
if you wanted them to talk about what their favorite part of a book, they can hold up the book, take a picture, and then they could be doing that and kind of circling different parts of the book and talking about their favorite characters and kind of narrate through the part of the story that they liked. And I can share the information for that. So that was a screen recording and the mock screen recording. The other thing that you can do now is you can give feedback. So if you look right here, oops, you have to go into the educator login for this. So let's say I wanted to do this one. And I have this response right here. Right here, I can click on it. And then in here, I have a way to give feedback. So I can either use they have like a generic rubric here, or I can create a rubric where I click on edit the rubric and I can change it to custom and just kind of add my own criteria here. So that's another thing you can do. And the other thing you can do to give feedback is you can give a private video response. So if I click right here and she says something and I record back to her, she's the only one who's going to see my response. One thing about this is that you can either, Flipgrid says that you can email them their, it used to say that you could email them their response. The problem is that kids can't get email from out of here. It looks like they changed it because I probably learned that. But you can just put their feedback right into Classroom, or you can copy this code and send them the code and the response will show up. And you can also do it right here and copy. Oh, here's where you can email it, but they'll never get the email. So it's better to copy it right there and send them the link. So that's that. And then the last thing is called a mixtape. So you look that if, let's say I go back to my, this is the book reviews. And in here, I really like Jacob's. I can add it to my mixtapes. So I like that one. And I've already made a mixtape called These Are My Favorite Books, and I add it here. And then I go back here, and now because that one was in realistic fiction. So maybe now I'm going to go to one that's in mystery and spy. And I like Alexis's, so I add that to the mixtape. And I add it. And so then now when I go to my mixtapes up here, I see I have These Are My Favorite, and there's two, and they're from two different topics, but they get mixed together into the almost like a collage of all the different ones that you've created. So if you have different classes or something and you want to highlight your best ones or you want to share them somehow, you can make a mixtape that has them all, and see it has the names of who it's starring. So that's a mixtape. So I'm going to stop there and just see what questions you have on that. No questions. Okay. So then those are kind of like the tools. This is more resources that you can use while you're learning. And before I do this, have any of you used any of those, either GridPal's Discovery Library or one I know you've used, which is a flip hunt? Okay. So I know Kelly has done a flip hunt, so we'll save that for last, but I'll show you GridPals. So this explains GridPals, but right here at the top of my educator, I gotta get, oh, here. At the top of my educator, whatever account, there's GridPals. Now I'm active, which means that I'm willing to have somebody contact me. But if I look at you guys, I'm seeing, let's just say for Gisele, she's an ESL teacher. So if I go here, oops, I've got too many tabs open. And I say that she's a middle school ESL teacher, you can see that. And let's say she wants to be, she's talking about, well, she does something with the Global Read Aloud. I might write out Global Read Aloud. I don't know if it'll find anything or not. So let me try GRA.
Yeah, GRA you might find, Jody. I do have something.
Yeah. So see, all of these teachers right here all over the world are ESL teachers who have somewhere in there about GRA. So this person is in Ohio, or even better, this person's in London. And she's got high schoolers and middle schoolers. So if I click on her, I can connect to her from here. But some of these people, like this one, has send an invite. Now I'm going to just say that this I take credit for, because about 6 months ago, they were doing like a request thing, and this was my request. So I don't know for sure that this was because of me, but I'm going to claim that it was, because when I was trying to do this, I was having to like send all these people tweets, and it was a pain, and they were ignoring it. So now if you found somebody that you wanted to connect to, you send them an invite, and then basically this is saying that she's going to get my email address. I don't want to do it for real. And then it'll connect me with her. And then once I've done that, if we're both reading The Giver or something like that, we can set up a grid. Or like, for example, for 6th grade, I know that they're doing, let's say they were doing weather right now. You know, if I was doing this, I have all these teachers who are doing weather or talking about weather. And if I sent one of them a connection, and we put my class and their class together, we could be having them converse about what the weather is like here and what the weather is like there. And this, in my opinion, is where Flipgrid has its power, because there's a lot of tools that you can use that you can be, that you can be, just having kids record their face or doing a whiteboard. But this is where you can get kids to actually connect with people around the world. And I think that that's what you saw with the pandemic one that Erica set up, and then also the one that Eric and Tracy set up, and also the one that I set up last year. I mean, I wish I didn't delete this Flipgrid, but last year I had a Flipgrid with this. We were talking about holidays, and we had this family from El Salvador who responded. And just like I'm sitting in my living room, the boy who responded was sitting in his kitchen. And in his kitchen, you could tell, I mean, the house was a house. You can tell it was a house, but like you could see there was kind of wires hanging down, and you can tell that the kitchen was right next to where they were sitting. And just from seeing that, you can see the power of connecting with somebody who was in another country. So I really like FlipPals. I would say any of the projects that you're doing, it's worth a look in this search engine just to see if you find something. And then if not, you can post that you're looking for somebody, and somebody might connect to you. So that's
Jody,
grid. Yeah.
can I ask you something about the
Uh-huh.
grid pals?
Mhm.
So when I do the search for teachers and activities,
Mhm.
are those teachers aware? Did they sign up somehow
Mhm.
for the grid pals? Are they
Yeah,
aware that other teachers can see them?
yeah.
Or whatever Flipgrid I post, I'm automatically going to show up on that list for anybody that searches.
Well, two things. Your grids don't show up. It's just you show up in this list, right? And you can see I have this right here highlighted. If I didn't want anybody to connect with me, I would switch it to this side.
Okay,
So you can switch it and you can say if you want people to be able to connect to you or not. And this is where you would say what you were interested in, and you can say your subjects, or you can put any of these things that you're interested in learning about. If I put the word weather in here, it would kind of, what would the word be? I'm curious if Arlington Heights, or I would probably put Wheeling, yeah. If I put the word weather in here and somebody search for weather, it should show up. My guess is when people put in the word Spanish, it's finding me. And so then what you would do after that point is you would create a grid, because there's different ways to set up a grid. When you set up a grid, one you would either choose the one that Erica did with the public and PLC. That was pretty much anybody here. If we do school email, it'll automatically have CCSD 21 in here. But then if the person I was connecting with was from AH25, I would put ah25.org, and then anybody from their district could get in. So now officially this is considered a public blog. So now you would have to be looking at permissions, but it's not wide open like the pandemic one that Erica set up is. It's like a kind of like a walled garden that just certain people can get into it. The other thing that I didn't point out is that when you have a topic, you can add a guest code. So a guest code is kind of like a hall pass. So if you were doing something you're doing something, and most of the time you only wanted the kids to be in there, but you wanted to show it to the parents, this is kind of like a special code that basically it's letting certain people that you share that code with, like an expert, for example. If you were doing something about weather and everybody, you wanted it to be private except for some meteorologist, you could send that guest code to are you seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay. You can send that guest code to that one or two people so that they can get into it. And that doesn't show up on the grid, it only shows up on each topic. So, you have grids, and then inside of grids, you have topics. So you could make a special topic, and that would be the only place that guest could get into.
So what would be the difference between flip code and guest code?
The flip code is kind of like the default. It's like the one that everybody's using. So if you were connecting with another class, you would make it be the flip code, and all the kids from your school and all the kids from that school would all be getting in that way. But now let's say that author was going to come and talk to you, you would just send that one guest code to that author. So it's usually not sent publicly. It's more like something that you send to one person. If you were doing a careers project and you found somebody who was a lawyer, you could give that code to that one lawyer so he can get in. And that way it stays private for everybody else, but that one guy was able to get in and give, an answer, or answer the kids' questions or something. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. So, and then the last one, and I'm glad Kelly's here because I'm going to turn it over to her. Do you have your microphone on? No, but she
Yeah, I'm
will.
here.
Okay. So, so what a flip hunt is, I'll click on yours because interestingly, and I didn't know you were coming, I chose yours as an example. This is a flip hunt that Kelly made. This is what Erica was talking about before, that because it was set for the district, I have to log in, and it's recognizing that I have a CCSD 21. And then go ahead if you want to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I did this one before the distance learning, and then I did it again in my other classes since it was a new try during distance learning. But basically what it is I have my different topics where, for example, the first one, muscles. The kids click on that, and then it has a question. And I think I had them identify different muscles, and then they had to give examples. Yeah, I cleared this out because I did it again. So they had to identify different muscles, and they had to give examples of those exercises, taping themselves. So some of the other topics might have videos recorded.
Let's
But
try.
basically, I had them choose like 2 or 3 with my tutors during the distance learning
These
to
are all cleared
record.
out. If you want, if I
Maybe I
kind
made a
of,
new one.
if I tread water for a couple seconds, can you pull yours up to show them?
Yeah, let me go to my grids.
So while she does that, just as an FYI, that was the example. But remember, this leads to Discovery Library. The Discovery Library, I'll show you more with that. But what I did is I made a search, and these are all flip hunts that other people have made already. So those of you who've used Seesaw or anything else, this is kind of typical where teachers share activities. So these are just different middle school teachers who've made a flip hunt. So this is like how they made it. And I'll just kind of talk about this. What happens with a Discovery Library is if you like what they've done, then you can take that topic and just copy it to your Flipgrid. And it doesn't copy their answers, but it just copies the directions. And so then you can kind of steal. You have permission to steal, but they're basically giving you permission to steal. Do you ready to show yours?
Yeah, I can
Okay.
present.
So I'm going to turn this off. Okay.
Let me go entire screen. All right. Whoops. Oh, I have all my topics. I have my heart rate, and then you can see like my different students that
We're not
created.
seeing you yet, or at least I'm
Oh,
not. Are you guys
you're
seeing
not?
her? No.
Oh, whoops, sorry, I didn't click share. Halfway processed. All right, let me see. All right, so can you see it now?
Yep.
Okay. So this was my, I did this with my 6th graders during distance learning. This is their heart rate response. But I can let me go to my grids and get the punt. So yeah, so there's the heart rate, muscles, fitness components, abdominal muscles, sportsmanship. So the kids can click on any of these that they wanted. So sportsmanship, a lot of them chose that one. And basically it was just them defining what sportsmanship meant to them. And then I wanted them to role play a scene, but no one really did, but that's fine. So they went through and they just gave their own examples of those types of things. And for this, I only had them choose like 4 of the options for it, but it's pretty easy. I just would do links. So in my classroom, I had the link to the Flipgrid, and they just had to click that, and then it brought them to all of them. So,
and I think the first time we did it, we had like a hyperdoc of each of the questions, and then each one linked to the actual topic. But I think once they've done it once and they know how it works, it's easy enough for them to.
Yeah, let me see if I have my flip hunt. Yeah. So I attached this document to the thing, and it had the question there already. And then they just had to click one of these links. So if I do heart rate, click there, and it brings them up.
Yeah, and one thing, I was gonna say that Remember Me, you can teach the kids to press that if they're on their own computer, because it saves them a step every time.
But it brings them directly to that, which is the new one no one chose. But yeah, so that was basically it.
Yeah. And I think we've all said that like 6th grade does the best, but they're the least resistant to do it. I think that now that we're doing the distance learning, kids are getting more used to recording themselves. But didn't you tell me that kind of 6th grade didn't really fight you at all? 7th grade was and 8th grade fought you a little bit more on it?
Yeah, that's pretty much how it's been for Today I had an assignment. I've been doing an ab challenge with like that I sent out to all of my classes, and I shared it with teachers so anyone can do. And so today I made it an optional thing, just like something extra fun to see people's faces and whatnot. But today I made it part of their assignment. So I've been getting a lot more responses on that. So like today for day 16, there's more students with some teachers that have already responded. So, but yeah.
All right. So then, super quick, I just want to show, and then I'm going to turn it back over to, well, we'll take questions and then we'll turn it over to Erica. The Discovery Library is awesome because not only can you search by topic like we were doing down here, like I showed a bunch of PE teachers. This is, you can even put the word distance learning in here, but we put physical education, and then once they put it, which I don't know why it's not working, but well, why isn't it working? Let me try again. Clear filters. Physical education. Some of these teachers did a really nice, I don't know what's going on, but they do a really nice job, and they have like the videos already, like the examples already. Like this is a good one. This has the video in it already. It's got a description. It tells you how to use it. I don't know why you would reinvent the wheel if you find something that works. So this is a good place to look. And then the other thing is up here, all of these partners have partnered with Flipgrid. So you're probably going to recognize a lot of names that you see. Here's Breakout EDU, here's Wonderopolis, Vocabulary. They're already doing something with them. So if you know that you use Vocabulary and you click on this, these are all different activities that go with Vocabulary and are ready to go. So that's another nice feature about Flip. And they keep adding. Like I'll get like little notifications that they started to partner with uh, some museum. I think the Met in New York. They started to partner with. Oh, here it is. And so for art, these were like just different things that the Met set up with different pieces of jewelry or art, and then you can steal it from them. So that's Discovery Library. And then Erica is going to talk about last slide. Oh, but I still want to, do you want to share your screen then? You're muted.
Okay. You can hear me. I'm not muted. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So this was just kind of the accessibility resources, and they add these as we go along. So closed captions has been there for a little while. You can turn off and on the closed captions when you are creating a grid. So when you're in the teacher view at your grid view, there's kind of a slider for putting your closed captionings on. You can also from there select a different language. So I don't really know how well it translates. That might be something interesting if you're bilingual to check that out, to put the language selection on there and see what comes up for you. With Immersive Reader, that's a new feature. It kind of works a little bit if you think about what Google Read-Write does a little bit of. It has a dictionary, it can give you parts of speech, it will read text to you. If those directions that Jody was just showing you with the library examples. So if the speech can be read, it can also tell you what parts of speech, and that also has a language translator in it. So again, it'd be kind of interesting to see what you think of that as opposed to the features of Google Read and Write. I would think though, as like a kind of a quick, just try it out. It's pretty helpful, I would think, for our ELL students. for the text with video, that's a feature they just added. So this is where students can add text to their videos. So they can record something and then add maybe an explanation or something. They can also attach docs or URLs to their video. So then this is kind of a way they're touting how students could really, it's almost portfolio-like in some ways. It's not just recording your answer to something. If you had a slideshow that went with it, or if you were doing a project and there was a doc that went with it, you could connect it right up into there right before they hit submit. The other thing with closed captioning is they say that, it just basically grabs it from Microsoft's closed captioning app, basically. If you notice errors in it, there is a way to go back and edit. So if you've put on the closed captioning, you think it's really important for maybe something you're doing, and you see that the captions aren't exactly what you would have chosen, you as the teacher can go back in and you can edit some of those closed captions for it to say exactly what you'd like. So those are just some interesting things, and I think that they're going to be adding more and more. I think this text, the immersive reader, I think was just last year, and text with video was just in the last couple months.
Yeah. I haven't played with very much, so I don't know that much about those, but I think they can be powerful, especially for the ESL students. So that's the whole spiel. I don't know if anybody wants to share how they've used it or if you have other questions or ideas. No questions or ideas or questions. So I'm going to put the link to this on the side, and for Holmes people, I'll put it on the tech update after tomorrow. But let me put it on the side here. And then Tracy, you put the link for the what's it called?
Yeah, at the top of the chat for the sign in.
People came late. Remember last time? Is there anybody who's not seeing it? Because last time, if you weren't already in there, then you wouldn't see the link. So if you
to access it.
I just changed it. The slideshow. I just changed it.
All right.
This is an off-topic question, but Kelly Kuzmanik, did you go to Frost as a student?
Yes, I did.
I remember you. Where are you now?
Yep.
Oh, that's amazing. You're a gym teacher?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. And how's your mom doing?
She's good. She's good.
Oh, good. Sorry, said hello.
I will.
Jody,
Mm-hmm.
the history one
Yeah.
that you were showing us, is that
Mhm.
just to see partnerships with companies, or we see teachers as well?
Are you talking about if it's a discovery, it's probably just they give you the question and like kind of the resources to answer the question. It's the flip pals or whatever they call grid pals. Those are the partner teachers.
Okay, thank you.
Now, I would think that if you went into that partner teacher, that flip pal thing, and typed in the Met or whatever, it would probably show up. There might be other people who are using those. Actually, I'll just out of curiosity, I don't know if that might be one of because there's subjects. That would be a good addition for them to do, is to put their partner resources in there. And like if there was somebody who was using the Met or somebody who was using Epic, they could add that on. So, yeah.
And one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
The Gumquest was for drama. She was trying to embed links in her Flipgrid posts, and she couldn't figure out how, because once she puts the URL, it does not become a live link. The kids would have to copy and paste to go to that link. Is there a way to do it?
Yeah, if you're going to put a link into there's a part where you can put a link when you're creating a when you're creating a topic, yeah, when you're creating a topic in here, right here, this, you can put a link in here into your topic here, but then also right down here where it says more options, you can have an attachment that's a feature link.
Gotcha. Special way to
So,
do it. Then.
yeah. So,
I
but it
haven't
looks
I
like it
haven't
does
created
work.
in a while.
Yeah. It looks like it does. And a focus is basically like if you were gonna do in that flip hunt, you wanted to show them an example of how you did something, you could put a
Mhm.
video of yourself, or you can import a video from any of these. So this was the PE teachers I was talking to. There's so many PE teachers who have put things up on YouTube of at home workouts. And so instead of creating something, they just found it in YouTube and then they just inserted it that way.
What if I want to create my own video to put as part of the instructions? What would be the way to do it? Link it in there.
To put it in the instructions,
Yeah.
it's
I have to pre-record it and then put the link, or there's a way to embed it as a flip.
you can, if I can find it, I have too many things. You can record a video right here if you want to read them instructions. If you want to say, hi, everybody, you're going to blah, blah, blah. If I click this, it's going to open and I can read them a video. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have done it maybe 2 years ago, but I couldn't
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And then you can do it from, I mean, look at all the different options that you have where you can pull things from.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of ways to kind of put resources on there for the kids. This has got to be super short. So this is just something like do your best or don't forget to turn on your microphone or something like that. But your
Mhm.
main instructions are going to go up here. And the other thing they changed during distance learning is that they can record up to 10 minutes now. So I think it used to be 5 and they've made it longer because of distance learning.
Nice.
Yeah. That's 8. Any other questions? Okay. Then we are here. We'll stick around if anybody does, but otherwise, we're good.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll see you later.